What's up? This is Scott the Frozen Gamer coming at you today with breaking news. These are brand new board games that were just added to the BGG database. So they may never come out. They may come out in the future. I don't know when. Everything I say about them could change. Who knows? Because they were just brand new announced. Now, some people may have been talking about them already, but if it has been, it's been very few, if nobody has talked about these games yet at all on the interwebs. So the first game is Box 2. It is for 2 players. There is no time mentioned. There's a reason for that. The designer is Neil Patrick Harris, and the publisher is Theory 11. And the blurb is puzzles, codes, and challenges to unlock secrets and unravel a new mystery. And I'm emphasizing a new mystery because this is the sequel to Box 1, also designed by famous actor of the stage and screen Neil Patrick Harris. And I played the first one and absolutely fell in love with the first game of the series, which was Box 1. And it wasn't the hardest of escape room games. I played a handful of them. Not my favorite genre, but I do love Box 1. And as I said, it wasn't the hardest of the games that I played. I think Exit and Unlocked are harder than Box 1 is, but Box 1 did the coolest things I have seen in an escape room game. And then what's great about Box 1, and I'm assuming Box 2, is that you can repack it all up and give it to a friend or family like I did. So Box 2, the main difference of this one is Box 1 was a solo only game, or that's how they wanted you to play the game. Box 2 is a 2-player game. It strictly says 2 players on BGG. Now, of course, you could probably, maybe not play it solo, I don't know, or with a group of people, but it is saying you should play it at least with 2 people. And again, I'm just excited to see where this one goes because I had such a fun time playing Box 1. Game number 2 is Coming of Age. It is a 1 to 4 player game, 40 to 80 minutes. The designer is a hot designer right now, Dani Garcia, who did Barcelona, Windmill Valley, Arborea, Daitoshi. The artist is Edu Valls, who did beautiful games, Baitoku, Three Ring Circus, Redwood, to name a few. And the publisher is Ludonova, who recently just made Flatiron and Mennefer, if I pronounced that right. Mennefer, I don't know. But hot games from Essen. So the blurb for Coming of Age is grow up 1 year at a time, developing goals for yourself and working towards them. Some of the mechanisms of the game that they mention in the description is you start the game as a child and continue through life where your interests and your skills are going to grow. Your parents are involved in the game. They're going to be more involved as you are a child, and as you grow up, you're going to gain independence from them. And then through dice management, you can travel to different cities that grow your personality and your experiences in life, and you try to achieve the life goals that you'll gain throughout the game. So I think you'll get more life goals as the game progresses on. Now, this is in the same style of game as Pursuit of Happiness, and there's a new game that just came out in Essen that's gotten a bit of buzz, and I can't remember the name of the game, but that game's in the same type of genre. And of course, if you go back to the granddaddy of this genre, I guess it would be the mass market game Life, the board game, which I swear I absolutely still love to play as long as it's the 70s/80s version of the game. I'm not sure, but somewhere in that era. My parents own it, and I will still go to their house and play that game because I think it's great. And part of it is I love this genre of growing through your lifetime throughout a board game. I think that's just a really neat genre, and this one excites me partially because of that genre, partially because it's Dani Garcia, and partially because I really like Edu Valls' artwork. So that is Coming of Age. Game number 3 is called Echo from the Dark. It's 1 to 4 players. It's 120 to 180 minutes. The designer is Adam Blinkensop, and the artist is Sam Matthews. This is their first foray into board games for their respective art disciplines. And the publisher is GMT Games, who, if you don't know, has done Twilight Struggle, Dominant Species, the Coin Games, and all of the famous war games. Not all of them, but a lot of the famous war games are done by GMT Games. And that is why this game is 120 to 180 minutes on the long side, because GMT does long, somewhat complex games to very complex games. And this one's kind of in their mid to lower level, so it should be more approachable than some of their super complex games. The blurb says, harness new technologies to lead your faction to victory in an interstellar struggle. It's going to be part of the Irregular Conflict series. If you don't know what that is, but you know what the Coin series is, it's a very similar series to Coin, except there isn't going to be the what does Coin stand for? Counter Ops, Insurgency, something like that. There isn't any insurgencies in this one. I have P500'd, I don't know, is that how you say it? P500'd, Cross Bronx Expressway, which is all about how building the bridge, the Cross Bronx Expressway, has affected the neighborhoods of the Bronx in New York. So this one, though, is going to be a conflict type of game in space. So again, similar to Coin, not quite Coin, especially since it doesn't deal with the same type of insurgency war type of theme of the game. So some of the things in the game that they mentioned is that it's going to have a highly variable setup. It's going to have a shifting population that kind of ebbs and flows throughout the game. There's technology, and every round a new technology is going to be introduced into the game. There's non-player opposition, which sounds really neat. And it's not just in the solo game. It sounds like it's in all player counts of the game. So anywhere from 1 to 4 players, you're going to have kind of like NPD factions that you'll have to deal with throughout the game. And then everyone has the same basic actions and can always use research technology, but there are variable player powers, and the smaller actions have better initiative, which it means like the less powerful, I think it means the less powerful actions are going to be able to give you like turn order as far as initiative goes, or maybe it's in a battle, they get first. I don't really know, that's all it says, but I like the idea of that. And there's area majority in the game. So I'm just excited because I really like the idea of coin games, but they're too heavy. I've tried reading the rules, I've tried watching videos, they're just too much for me. And I have playtested a tiny bit of Cross Bronx Expressway, and I've read the rules and kind of followed along how that one's gone, and that one's so much more accessible to me. I think it's just a step down in complexity from Coin, just from rules reading, and even though they're very similar, and that is partially why I really am excited about Echo from the Dark. Plus it's in space. I love space-themed games. So there you go. Echo from the Dark, a new GMT Irregular Conflict series. Next up is For a Crown, which is 3 to 5 players, 30 to 45 minutes. Its designer is Maxim Ramburg, who did The Loop and Dracula vs. Van Helsing. The artist is Paul Mafayan, who did Bunny Kingdom. And the publisher is Repos Productions, who did the Seven Wonders Duel, Just One, So Clover, Cash and Guns. They do a wide variety of games, and I really think they're a good publisher in all the different genres of games that they do. So the blurb for this one is noble families squabble for the crown, sometimes in nefarious ways. So obviously this is going to be a conflict game of different families that are going at it to try to get the crown. And what is really cool about this game is this first mechanism that I'm going to mention right now. And it is a single deck building game. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna be recruiting a character, I'm assuming into your family, and then you put it in a sleeve of your player color. And then all the cards, as you keep getting new cards, get shuffled into the main deck of cards. And then you'll draw cards out like you do in a normal deck building game, except you're not doing it personally. There's going to be one deck for everybody, and if your card gets pulled, you get to use it for that turn. If your cards don't get pulled, you may not get a turn. I don't know about that yet, but if you get multiple cards pulled or one card pulled, you'll get to play this turn. And the game lasts 4 rounds. The player with the most rubies wins, and it also has hidden victory points in it, which I love. First game that comes to my mind for hidden victory points is Small World. I love that, where you might think you're like in the running for the win, but you're never quite sure until all those points are totaled at the end. So I will be honest, I'm not a huge deck building fan. There's very few deck building games that I enjoy, and this one intrigues me though. I really think that single deck building mechanism is gonna be amazing, or it's gonna like just fall flat. I have confidence though, because Repos Productions, I don't think it's gonna just put out a huge clunker with this huge new mechanism. I have confidence that this game's gonna work, and that idea of it being that one deck is interesting. So that is For a Crown by Repos Productions. The last two games I'm going to talk about have the same exact design team, publisher, and so let's get to it. The first one is called Point Galaxy. It's 1 to 5 players. The designers are a team of designers that work together. Molly Johnson, Robert Melvin, and Sean Stingovich. Sorry. And they've done Point Salad, Point City, Verdant, 10, amongst other games, and they always design together, or at least most of the time design together. And the artist is Dylan Mangini, who did Point Salad, Point City, Truffle Shuffle. It looks like he does most of their games, the artwork for them. And the publisher is Flatout Games, who has published the games I just mentioned, but also they have more, maybe not importantly, but more well-known, they're more well-known for publishing Cascadia and Calico. Maybe that is more important. Those are pretty heavy hitters in the industry. So the blurb for Point Galaxy is build your galaxy to score points in hundreds of unique ways. So this is the third game, if you didn't pick up on it, in the Point series. We got Point Salad first, then came Point City, and now Point Galaxy. Some of the mechanisms that they mention is you take 2 cards from a market and you're going to add them to your galaxy, and from those cards you're going to try to create a solar system by putting planets in a sequential order, and then you're going to be doing some sorts of set collection for suns and asteroids and moons and rockets, and then there's going to be objective racing where there's an objective put out on the table and everyone's racing to get to it first, and there's going to be over 140 double-sided cards in this game, so 280 sides or different cards that you can get. That gives you just a buttload of variety in this game. I haven't played any of the Point series games, and the reason why is they just did not interest me. I didn't play Point Salad, didn't play Point City. Themes were boring to me, but this one I'm interested in. I think the mechanisms actually sound great. I actually do like, if you want to say Point Salad games, games where you can get a lot of different ways you can get points. Stefan Feld, I love. Bruges is one of my all-time favorite games. So I like that mechanism in games, or theme in games, and the space theme is a huge improvement from food and city building for me. So I am interested now in a Point series game, and that one is Point Galaxy. And then the last game I'm talking about is called Propolis, or Propolis. I just pronounced it wrong both times. It's either Propolis or Propolis. And it's 1 to 4 players. It's 15 to 30 minutes long. And it's, again, the same team, same Flatout Games publishing it, same artists, same designers. And the blurb for this one is deploy worker bees, explore the realm, and build the most glorious hive. And it's a light worker placement game with engine building and tableau building, and it's got tons of strategy though, despite it being a light game. Some of the things that happen as the hives expand, which I'm guessing is the progression of the game. As the game progresses, there's going to be new additional resources that get added to the game and different new scoring opportunities that will become available. That's my assumption of what that all meant. And so as the game goes further, just new things are going to be introduced. There is area majority in the game, contracts in the game, and some type of market that's going to be in the game as well. And this is the 4th bee game that I can think of that has come out recently. I'm sure there's more, but Bees with a Z, Honey Buzz, which has been in my wish list forever, and Apiary, which is also in my wish list, but since that one's come out, but that's been much more recently than Honey Buzz. And this is going to be the third one of the B games in my wish list. And what's nice about this one that sets it apart from the 3 other ones is that it's 15 to 30 minutes long. It's going to be like a light filler game. They say it's got tons of strategy in it as well, which is always nice for a filler length game. And the theme just works for me. The theme always of bees works for me because there's worker bees. What do they like to do? Work. So it's just perfect. It's a perfect theme for worker placement games, which this one is. And I'm excited. And both of those Flatout games sound really good to me. They're both just brand newly announced today when I'm filming this. And yeah, that's it. That's 6 new games that I'm excited about that were just added to the Board Game Geek. I was gonna say Board Game Geek database. No, the Board Game Geek database. So that's it. See you next time. Peace and stay cool.